So this first poem is called The Fear Machine. The fear machine stood in the corner of the theater as we rehearsed our play. It was covered in footsteps of different sizes. It emitted the soft hum of an engine still running after an accident. Our two-person play had been written for us, but the fear machine hummed in the corner, and mango came out like mango. Why are you sad came out like, why are you causing these circles under my eyes? After a while, we were each other's serial killers. Admit it, I said, it's mango. You chocolate, you mouthed. Stage right, the fear machine hummed, give me a hug, give me a hug, give me a hug, give me a hug, give me a hug. One day, the world didn't end. The next day, we had no philosophy. A week later, our play was no good. 2 weeks later, it was streamed in high definition. Fear machines bounced about the theaters, hitting the viewers. We tried to laugh, but our schadenfreude wasn't convincing. 30 years later, we still keep our paths off the fear machine, wishing they'd held together. And this is perfect. This is actually humming and it's stage right. This poem is called For Here There Is No Place. Oh, thank you. Well, that's okay. For here there is no place. I've cracked the vanity of geoengineering and the need to live in caves for 500 years. I've predicted private nuclear weapons, deciphered symbols of bigotry on some Trump cards. I've crashed cookouts with revolutionaries on the wrong end of a burning national park. But when they Skype me up, flashing their press credentials, all they want to know about is my 7-year relationship. I filmed roller coasters under the boots of soldiers. I fed dumbstruck children tales of exploding blimps, only finding rest for an hour or two in the triangular living room of an angry oat farmer. I've noticed it usually rains on the nights I speak. But when they ask about the source of my depression, they fail to notice all the dead trees in the forest and the garbage patches around the oceans. They just want to know my excess rating on the attractiveness scale. When I scoff at them, they liken me to a deer stupidly dashing away from a Lego car. They photograph my belly from below. They wait till I open my mouth at a crooked angle, then invite an award-winning sketch artist to meld my face onto the body of a beached whale. I get into indie films, but they put a pomelo in my mouth and laugh at my eyebrows. They pay for an ad on the side of a passing train condemning my manifesto on acid rain. When I tell them to fuck off, they revoke my voice. At the cafe, I'm 170 pages into the second draft of my hardball reboot of Personal Responsibility when a puncher with an insecure grin streams my ugly forehead to the world. When I can't help but talk for several hours to a disgraced firebrand with a stunning face, a ripped lilac dress, and 17 Twitter followers, the honcho writes an editorial arguing that I'm one of the world's bigger problems. And so I dream of walking into the sea, just melting into the waves. I want to no longer care about people who disown family members for simply knowing my name. I come back to the national park to see if the revolutionaries are okay. I become the firebrand's 18th follower and can't stop tweeting at her until she agrees to meet me for macchiato. I've ironed my best flannel shirt. But the firebrand has Googled me and won't act normal until I tell her all about my depression. Sure, she'll discuss her documentary lit entirely by rockets, but she always circles back to that 7-year relationship that landed me in a hospital. And I resist her, but there's something about her eyes. And so I tell her, of my ex's blush and curls, and the cabbage kitchen we ran together, and the charity she'd made me a mascot of, and my favorite goldfinches and philosophers, and my symbolism for two, and my foggy mountain, and our fights, and the hours I passed in the car getting up the nerve just to see her again, and our badminton of humiliation, and my guilt the night I stopped feeling anything, and her face on the day she told me I objectively deserved to die. The firebrand's blue hat rests on the coffee table and smiles at us like a misplaced, archaic torso of Apollo. Nothing moves, not even the doorframe. And the firebrand shrugs and must go. And I waddle down my childhood avenue in the general direction of my favorite stump in the forest, the one on which I sat for hours one day, talking to my ex about the zombies. Thank you. This is called Shelter. Went to the meditation, but only the snowed-in cardinals heard me. Far from any port, we were weighted by anchors made of phantoms. A few minutes of blossoms looking so very delightful until the tremors returned. And notice how the dolphins of Venice now hover like psychic blimps. Multiple personalities shake off the idealism. You can't always get what the continental drift carries toward you. The ex-Navy put on his festive flannel shirt on the happiest day of his new normal, but no one showed up to greet him. They were all hiding in their fur closets, talking to ghosts of minks. The doves pecked on tasteless ice cream. Monuments to Saint Butcher on every city square. I can always play 20 questions with you. Make that 96 questions. Until the phone goes silent. God, no, the default auto response. How laughable, the lion-headed goats of our pasts. The sunlight paints your brushes with orange and yellow in an alive martini. Or, did you look at the distant bridge across the majestic bay and find yourself having wishes you couldn't put anywhere? They usually go away by themselves. Don't worry too much. Just give it 30 or 40 years. Just like the monuments. But still, we imagine a back room in our inner luxury hotels where the prisoner called integrity has been safe and sound all this time, kept alive by the unprincipled, genocidal brutes out of gratitude for some act of courage he pulled, even before amoeba had evolved. We're silly like that. Welcome to your checkmate, mate. Welcome to your legacy. Well, the earth will swallow these ideas whole with some crunchy lava. And out beyond, nothing much will change for the worse. Even the empty parks are still pleasant to think about, blossoming with the sound of past year's tennis balls. Could we have imagined? Of course we could. And this is the last poem, and it's called The Submarine. And so you find yourself walking with your father along the waterfront. So far, you've only exchanged a few sentences. And you know everything about your father, but imagine he's come back from a decade in the red light district, too busy with STDs to pay more attention to you. There are orphans everywhere, even those with parents alive. And there is trash everywhere, and people pick up the trash and throw it at each other. And your father is here, and still he won't talk, though the sides of his mouth are moving a little. You console yourself with the thought that he's just one man, and his name would be Danny Boy in another life, because he's always at war, but still has all those songs going through his head. Twice a week, the garbage collectors come. Every year, a useless Christmas is spent with useless homecomings, and you act like vampires in withdrawal. The sides of his mouth say, "Your father is here. Why can't you talk to him?" And there's a submarine now, And who knows what it's doing here? But you both go on and take a tour. Your father turns out to have a senior pass and decides it was so boring on land. Strolling, you almost feel ready to tell him, not about love, not about your vindictive art. Hell, you never knew what you want to tell him about, and you still don't. But this evening, you almost had it. Did you want him to show you his footsteps so you can change their direction? Did you want him to remember your jokes? Did you want him to mourn his own father better? All you'll remember are those wooden plaques at the spots where the wounded sailors had fallen during the war. Those painted over splotches of blood on the walls. Your walls. Your father's walls. You walk with your father through the submarine, and you know it's the last 2 hours of alone time you'll ever get with him, even if he's alive for many more years. And somewhere, between the deck and the captain's quarters, he opens his mouth and tells you of some helpful nurse, some helpful everything, of pictures of wild horses, of pudding, of chest pains, of chocolate chips. And you walk alongside him and listen. And you're the only two people on the submarine. And nothing in the world will distract you now. Thank you.